A California man pleaded guilty to sending fake ransom notes tied to the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. The mother of Today Show anchor Savannah Guthrie disappeared in January. Derrick Callella is charged with sending a ransom demand across state lines and using a telecommunications device to threaten or harass.
Also new at noon, a California man accused of sending fake ransom messages to Nancy Guthrie's family, changing his plea today from not guilty to guilty.
Derrick Callella, he was the one who was accused of, I should say convicted now, of sending a text message to Annie and Tommaso asking them about Bitcoin. A lot of people were asking me questions. Do I think he is involved? He just went to court. He pleaded guilty and accepted some charges. Now, there is some misinformation going on right now that I am seeing about what's going on with his court and what has happened. So I'm going to clear all of that up. And also, do I personally think he is involved with what happened with Nancy? I'm going to let you know. Stay tuned, Fugitive TV. Welcome to Fugitive TV, and I am your host, Ray Marcel. And what we do here is we take a look at cases, anything true crime, cases that involve missing individuals, or anything that needs a different perspective. Because I was once a fugitive on the run from the law myself. I ran for 15 years, living in different countries under different names. Then eventually I turned myself in. And what I do now is I have this YouTube channel. I help family members locate missing individuals, fugitives, or what I could do is give my perspective or reach out to sometimes my connections that I've made in the underground world to help solve a case. Well, right now we're going to talk about Derrick Callella. Derrick Callella has been heavily involved in the Nancy Guthrie case. Now, a lot of people who clicked on this video probably already know who Derrick is, but just in case, Derrick Callella is a person that right after Nancy Guthrie was abducted, if we want to say that, because some people are questioning that now. When those first ransom notes came asking for Bitcoin and money, Derrick Callella thought it was a smart idea to send Annie and Tommaso a text message saying, hey, did you get the Bitcoin?
Very early on, there was someone, this California man, who again has pled guilty today, changing that plea to guilty to two federal charges, two felony charges of harassing the Guthrie family, one in the form of a text message and the other by phone. So we're going to get to more on that in just a second. But this happened back in February, very early on in the case.
Well, Derrick got caught, and the other day he had to go to court for it. He pled not guilty, and we're going to talk about what happened with that. And some of you guys are wondering how he even got Annie and Tommaso's number, in the first place, which I'm going to explain how he got the number. And I'm also going to explain to you, do I think he is responsible for what happened with Nancy, or do I think he's even involved? Now, when it comes to Derrick, I do realize, and I've noticed there's been some misinformation that's put out there about Derrick. So I'm here to set it straight and show you guys from the exact court docket and court forms that I have from the official federal website and explain to you exactly what's going on. All right. So I'm going to break that down for you. Now, what happened was Derrick got caught, went to court. OK. He pleaded not guilty. Now, it's pretty much standard procedure when you go to court to plead not guilty. Even if you don't have a judge, most of the time, you don't have a lawyer, most of the time the judge will enter a not guilty plea for you, just so you have time to see the evidence against you and in case they want to make a deal or, anything like that. All right. Well, some people speculated that Derrick might know something because he had a court date, okay, and a court date, which was a couple days ago, and it was for him to walk in and change his plea. So a lot of people are like, oh my God, he's changing his plea. Something's going on. Well, I'm going to explain to you guys exactly how that works, just in case if you don't know. So I'm going to break it down for you, like we're in 6th or 7th grade. Now, if Derrick really knew something, and let's say he was snitching, if you want to call it, or telling or working with law enforcement, it wouldn't go down this way. This is how it would not go down. All right. Unfortunately, Due to my circumstances, I've been around a lot of people who got told on and snitched on. All right. I was snitched on and told on myself when I first got in trouble. All right. So I have firsthand experience of how this goes. Now, let's say two people walk in and want to rob a bank. Let's say two people want to rob a bank. All right. You guys get away with it. Now, the way this works is there's a saying. They say the first person that talks gets the better deal. Now, you have two situations that can go on. Both of you guys can get arrested at the same time, and they throw you in two separate interrogation rooms. And then they interrogate you separately to see if your stories add up. If your stories don't add up, then they'll start pressuring you pretty much to snitch on one another. Now, if the first person decides to open his mouth and wants to snitch on this person might get the better deal. Does that mean this person's court's going to go away and stuff like that? No, they're still going to have court because both of you guys have court. All right. They're not going to make it to where, okay, well, this is what's going to happen. We're going to give you a court and you can plead not guilty, in 2 months and then you can get out of here. That's not the way it works. The way it works is both of you guys are going to have court, but 99% of the time, the one who's snitching, his court is just going to get postponed because the one who's telling has to make a statement and then most of the time has to go on the stand and point the other person out. I can name so many cases, okay, that's been televised. Where if you think about it, we just had the case of the au pair, the lady who was the nanny from Brazil or whatever, and they took out the wife. If you remember, she still had to take the stand and she was still locked up in jail. She wasn't free. Well, the reason why they do that is because they want to first keep you in the system. Second, they want to protect you because you could be a witness or a star witness. So imagine they let you out of jail, first of all, with no protection. Derrick bonded out. He bonded out. Didn't have no protection, no nothing. They let you out of jail with no protection. Now they risk something happened to you because you're the prime witness. So they want to keep you there as long as they can. Even if you do get out, they're going to put you in some sort of protection, especially federal court. Because remember, this is federal. Derrick is getting federal charges, not state. Federal is a whole different level, whole different ball game. So they want to make sure you're protected and they want to make sure you show up to court and they want to make sure what you say puts the other guy away. So let's just imagine this real quick. You go ahead, tell these people, yes, he did it. He's the mastermind. And then they tell you, okay, great. Now here, just plead to this and then we'll let you free and let you go. All right. You go off and go. But this guy still has to go to court and he wants to go to trial. Now, let's say for some reason, you don't make it to trial. You're the star witness. You're like, you know what? I already pled guilty. My charges is done. No double jeopardy for me. Now, you can get in trouble for not showing up to court, but they can't, try you again or recharge you again because you guys already got a contract of not guilty. Let's say you do show up to court and let's say you tell another person, but the other person still is found innocent. You get what I'm saying? So it doesn't work that way. Usually your court just gets postponed. Now, the only way a lot of times I see it work to where maybe the person snitching doesn't even get court whatsoever is when they get a proffer agreement. A proffer agreement is called pretty much AKA a queen for a day. Meaning, they question you. They think you know a lot of evidence. You do know a lot, but you want to tell them, but you don't want to get in trouble. So then you and the government work out a contract. The government is nothing but a big entity. It's a business. They have to be bound by contracts as well. That's why when you get in trouble, you have to sign forms. You go into prison, jail, whatever it is. It's a contract, all right? So you guys sign a contract that's called a proffer agreement, meaning that you could tell whatever you want that entire day to them, the prosecution, to the government. Even if you slaughtered, I don't care, it's a whole village. You could tell them anything you want. Hey, this is what happened. This is went down. And then in return, what they're going to do is they're going to use your words and everything you said in court, but you have to promise not to say anything after that day. So if you go on a book tour, You go into want to do movies and you start talking about, yeah, I slaughtered all these people. Now they can charge you because you broke the contract. So the contract in terms was you can say as much as you want just for that day. That's why it's called Queen for a Day. So just for that day, say all you want. You're not going to get prosecuted. And then after that day, you got to keep your mouth shut. Keefe D, the guy who is currently in jail right now for what happened with Tupac, the only guy still alive that happened with Tupac. The reason why he is in jail right now is because he broke his contract. He had a proffer agreement, Queen for a Day, but he mistaken it. Maybe they didn't tell him what the directions of this was, but what he did was after he told everybody what happened to Tupac, or allegedly what happened to Pac, he wrote a book telling everything, and then went on media runs, and now he's in jail.
And as you just mentioned, he did change his plea. So as part of this plea agreement, he will be sentenced to 5 years probation. But also something new that we learned today, we didn't know this before. The judge also, as part of the agreement, sentencing him to a drug rehab treatment facility, which is where he was sent to immediately after today's hearing. Now, after that situation, we did hear the attorneys talk about how Derrick Callella, 42 years old, had tested positive for having methamphetamine in his system just 4 days ago. And of course,
now on the documents, it tells you his arrest warrant was executed, returned. It gives you everything, notice of attorney parents. But one thing that people got confused is right here. See where it says sealed CGA 23 financial affidavit. Then it says sealed CGA 23 financial affidavit by Derrick Callella. A lot of people were thinking like, oh my God, this is sealed. Why is it sealed? This must mean something. All right. No, what this is right here, CGA 23 financial affidavit. That is basically saying he filled out a form, a financial form. And everybody does this when they can't afford their own attorney. So if you can't afford your own attorney, you will fill out a financial form. Now in federal court, that form gets sealed because it has all your finances on it. So as you see right here, it was sealed 23, and a lot of people, I guess, didn't see this part, financial affidavit. All right. So that's why that says sealed. And federal court, they seal that. Federal court is very secretive. Federal court, there's no filming. That's why we see pictures and drawings and things like that. All right. Then you go down here. People saw this sealed unredacted indictment. People are like, oh my God, that's sealed too. Well, when you get in trouble federally, all right, and let's say you get indicted, once you get indicted, you become a fugitive until they go pick you up or arrest you. That indictment gets sealed. That's how the feds move. They don't want no information getting out. They don't want anything of, anything like that. And then what happens is when you go to court, they submit motions pretty much to unseal things, to unseal it. And then sometimes even to reseal. But that does not mean that, oh my God, they're sealing the court case, because if that was the case, I wouldn't be able to see what I'm seeing right now. Now, when you go to jail, you get a choice of having a speedy trial or not. Now, a lot of especially court appointed attorneys or public defenders actually will waive this right because they want to know the evidence they have against you, because it can be a good or bad thing for you. Meaning that if there's a lot of evidence against you and you can get found guilty in trial, the lawyer needs time. So they waive the right to a speedy trial. Now, the good thing for you is, let's say you do have all the evidence or you know a lot more than what the prosecution does. It's kind of a gamble. You could choose to have a speedy trial, and now the prosecution doesn't have enough time to gather their evidence. So then what they're going to do is probably offer you a plea deal before trial even starts, because they don't want to risk losing. They don't have the time to gather everything. They don't have time to talk to witnesses. So let's hurry up and shoot them a plea deal. Now, what I see here is they actually had a deadline for a plea in a trial. So it looks like they never raised or Derrick never waived his rights to a speedy trial. So when you don't waive your rights, deadlines for pleading guilty or not guilty, and then deadline for a trial. So if you look at this right here is a motion, United States District Court and for the District of Arizona. And it says, defendant Derrick Anthony Callella, by though counsel undersigned, hereby requests this honorable court to continue the trial currently set for June 23rd. All right. Plea deadline of June 5th. Additional time is necessary to investigate the facts and circumstances underlying the alleged misconduct in order to prepare for trial. So as you see, the original deadline was June 5th, and then the original trial date was June 23rd. So it looks like he never waived his right to a speedy trial. So because he never waived his right, that means everything was on a deadline. So because of this, I'm willing to bet you the prosecution was like, all right, let's give this man a plea deal. And if you look at this was a prior motion to extend it. The trial currently was originally set for May 5th, 2026, with a deadline plea date of April 17th. So this is why context matters. So when a lot of people saw, oh my God, there's a plea deal changing, you have to go into the documents and you have to see exactly what is going on. So this whole time there was actually 3 dates set, okay, 3. But they kept extending it. And the reason why they kept extending it because they were not ready to go to trial. So they had to keep extending it, all because Derrick never waived his rights to a speedy trial.
First, the judge asked him while he was in court today if he was sober, and he specified that yes, specifically today he was. Now, I spoke to Derrick Callalla's parents who have been accompanying him to all these different trials. They're from California. And as they were walking out today, I spoke to them and asked them several questions. Take a listen. This is Monica, News 4 Tucson. Do you think your son feels guilty for harassing the Guthrie family? Do you guys want to tell us what drugs he's going to be getting treatment for? I think I heard her say meth. Okay. Do you guys have a message for the Guthrie family? No comments. No? Okay. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Now, Derrick eventually did plead guilty to 2 felony charges, okay? And what the plea arraignment is, or I should say the agreement is, he has to go to rehab, which he should be in right now. He left the courtroom pretty much to go straight to rehab. And the reason why is because he tested positive for methamphetamine. I'm going to tell you an importance of that test and how that determined even my decision if he's even with them, like I should say not with them, but if he's involved with Nancy Guthrie and what really happened. So he tested positive for methamphetamine. Now, because he tested positive, his lawyer had a fight like, hey, this guy's a drug addict. He didn't just start using now. He's a drug addict and he needs help. His prior record shows that this guy is spiraling downhill and just needs money. Now, his prior records before this happened, he got in trouble for trying to scam his former employer for unemployment benefits, so he's known. And I looked at his record. He's known for trying to scam people out of money. This is what he does. He also has liens against him, meaning he owed some companies money, so they put liens against him. So definitely he's in desperate need of money, all right? Now, his plea arraignment is he had to go to rehab. He also got 5 years of probation, federal probation, okay, federal probation. Now, a lot of people think that's done deal. No, he has to go back to court in September after his rehab is done. Once his rehab is done, he actually goes back to court in September, and then the judge makes it final. Now, he also faces up to 2 years in prison, federal prison. Federal, you have to do 85% of your time. All right. So if the judge wants to give him a full two years, that means he's probably going to serve about 18, 19 months, in there. All right. Now, the judge can give him no time. It can give him half time, 6 months. So we're all going to see and wait to see exactly what happens with that. Now, when I put all this evidence together and I put everything together that I have learned about Derrick, do I think he's involved with Nancy and what happened to Nancy? Do I think he knows anything? Do I think he told on anybody? No, you can tell by the court documents this guy didn't tell on anybody. The feds, guys, the feds, and for anybody that's never been in trouble with the feds, please don't get in trouble with them ever. They are totally different than your local sheriff's department. They don't play around. So just by him doing his plea deal, he was out on the street on bond. He's going to rehab. No, he does. He didn't. I don't think he didn't tell on nobody, because it would be more of a secret if he did, and he wouldn't be going to rehab right now to a place where he's not protected, because anybody can touch you in one of these rehab facilities. All right. So just by that, and not only that, his background. The guy's just a scammer. He reminds me of like a Nigerian scammer sending you out emails trying to get money from your long lost grandma, things like that. The guy has liens on his background, companies that he owes money to, and I'm pretty sure he owes the company money that he stole the unemployment benefits from. So I'm pretty sure he owes money for that, because that just happened the end of last year. Matter of fact, and I don't think it was even still finished yet, but he still owes money for that. Not only that, he's testing positive for methamphetamines, meaning he's a drug addict. The people who did this, and I'm sorry, the people who did this are, I should say, smarter than that. Okay. These people have not been caught now for 4 or 5 months. All right. I don't care what nobody's telling you. They look unsophisticated. Well, they have not been caught for 5 months with an 84-year-old woman. So they can't not. Hey, the proof is in the pudding. All right. So, and I highly think that somebody is behind the scenes. That's the puppeteer, the kingpin, making all the decisions. I don't think that person we saw on the camera, a porch guy, I don't think he's the one making decisions. I actually think that man was staged just to throw us off. If some sort of way they had Derrick involved with this, I highly doubt they would have Derrick texting Annie and Tommaso. Hey, Derrick, you go text Annie and Tommaso and ask where the Bitcoin is. I highly doubt they would have a drug addict doing that job. All right. And my years in the underground world and dealing with some of these individuals. All right. Everybody has a different skill set. Everybody has a different role that they play, just like in law enforcement, just like in the military, just like at your 9-to-5 job. They operate the same exact way. Everybody has a different role. Usually the people who are on meth, crack, heroin, they are on the lowest of roles, if you even want to call them a role. These people are usually used for small theft. I need some clothes to go, or they don't even tell them what it's for. I need some clothes, go steal this and that. All right, I got you. They don't give them no information, because usually these people don't know how to keep their mouth shut, because all somebody has to do is come up to them like, hey, I got this bag here for you. You haven't been high in a long time, right? And then now they're opening and talking. You can't risk that. Some of these people get used and then they just get terminated. So if Derrick was a part of this, he would not be calling Annie and Tommaso asking for the Bitcoin. I don't think he would have had that responsibility. If you think about how far these abductors, or whatever you want to call them, have been and nobody's caught them, they wouldn't slip up like that. That just wouldn't sound right. If Derrick was involved, he would be doing something smaller, and to be honest with you, I don't even think he'd be alive right now. They would have got rid of him a long time ago. Now, a lot of people are like, well, how did he get Annie and Tommaso's phone number? Guys, it's not that hard. It's not hard at all. Anybody can get anybody's phone number as long as you have their name, birth date, and address. You could get anything from anybody. And then all you gotta do is pay for a third-party background check. That's all you have to do. every phone number, email address, that all pops up. So Derrick used a Text Now app or a VIOP app to text people or to try and find, make sure you're texting the right number. What Derrick didn't know was that even when you use these apps, it's a Text Now app, the app still goes back to your phone because the IP address, some of these apps even ask for an email address. So even if you put in a fake email address, it still goes back to your IP, which meaning Derrick wasn't smart enough to use a VPN to block his IP address. He was doing it from his phone, not an actual computer. So do I think Derrick was involved with Nancy Guthrie? No. And no knock on Derrick. But the people who are involved with Nancy, they're smarter than what Derrick showed us what he does. Derrick is sloppy. Derrick gets caught. He just got caught for scamming his company, trying to get them, or taking unemployment checks and benefits and things of that nature. So he just got caught doing that. So we know Derrick is not a sophisticated criminal because he just got caught. Then he gets caught texting and hits him also from a Text Now app. None of that is sophisticated whatsoever. That means he has the idea to do something. He goes to do it, but doesn't clearly think through of how to do it. So that right there shows me that no, he's not part of it. He is not no mastermind. And even if he was part of it, I don't think he would be the one sending the text message. That would not be his role. His role would have been something very, very small, meaning his role was so tiny, he didn't even know what was going on. Meaning, remember I told you to the beginning, the drug addict, I need you to steal me some clothes, but they don't know what they're stealing clothes for. All they know is they're stealing some clothes. That's all they know. So his role would have been so tiny, he doesn't even know what's going on. He just know he was stealing clothes. Who was just stealing clothes for? I don't know. Somebody paid me $20 to steal some clothes. You know what they look like? I think. But even at that, I don't even think Derrick would even be here. They would have terminated this guy. So that's what I think. Let me know below what you think. And also let me know below if this cleared up any information or questions that you might have had on Derrick Callella. I will continue this when he goes back to court in September, just to see, what he gets, because I'm curious to see if the judge is going to give him the full 2 years or not. Well, let me know below. Please like, subscribe. All right. This is Fugitive TV, and I'm trying to go full time, guys. So help me get to 30,000 subscribers by the end of the summer. That is my next goal. And if you have not joined the membership, if you can, please join the membership. That also helps me and supports the channel. And down below, you could go to the Facebook, the TikTok is all Fugitive TV, whatever you can do to help support Fugitive TV. Thank you guys. You guys have helped me grow so quickly, so fast with these cases of missing individuals, not just Nancy Guthrie, because you guys know I cover everybody. All right. So like one another, take care of one another, love one another. Until next time, this is Fugitive TV, and I'm out.